And yes, it is yet another interesting conversation that we are going to be having. And always, you know, that it always has to do with local as well as international football. My name is Tepi Worldwide, and thank you very much for joining us right here on ONSIDE ZA Behind the Scenes. So it's BTW. We are going to be talking to someone who has really done well for himself when it comes to development football. He is a footballer, an amateur footballer who is looking to play in the top flight, and his name goes by the name of
Latas.
Latas.
Yeah.
Man, because we call you Latas. I did not know your name is Unkgopotse.
Yeah, my name is Unkgopotse. Yeah.
And where are you from?
Originally born in Polokwane, Mankweng. I bred there as well. And then I grew up there for some time, but then I moved to Pretoria as well. Mm-hmm. So my parents have a house in Pretoria. So I've basically moved, from Pretoria to Polokwane. It's been a up and down type of situation, between those two places.
And how was your upbringing? In Pretoria, to be precise.
To be honest, in Pretoria, I spent, I think, 3 of my primary years. And then from there, I was in Polokwane at a boarding school. So most of my life I've been at boarding school. I've been independent. So yeah.
I was actually watching Annele and the Club. It is hilarious. Yeah. And she was saying something about, tell me you're from boarding school without telling me you're from boarding school. And some people were commenting and saying, people from boarding school eat so quickly.
Yeah. It's a thing because, in boarding, it's usually you eat in groups.
Mm-hmm.
So to also save up amongst ourselves so that, at least comes end of the month, we still have food, So there, if you're slow, especially when you're a guy, but even the ladies as well, they adapt to such habits.
Actually, you're right, because this other lady said that till this day, and she's a grown woman, she's 42 years old, I stand to be corrected, but she said that she till this day does not pray with her eyes closed, just in case someone takes her food from her.
I mean, also if I can relate to that with regards to there's like dining hall in boarding school, we eat with time, at certain times, and from there it's a matter of sometimes they give you the meat that you don't prefer. So it's always been a thing, but it's that life. You always need to be alert. Yeah.
Would you say that growing up in boarding school, built your character? I mean, it could have gone either way.
Yeah, well, firstly, as I mentioned, independence, Character-wise, I've always been someone that, needed to stand firm, in every situation that I come across. I think most of the life there was challenging, but it pushed me to think about the bigger picture, become a visionary, and push to see myself out of there. But to be honest, I think it made me stronger as a person as well. It contributed. Yeah, most definitely.
And just by the way, we are also joined by our ghost. And, normally we do have Super Sub who is ghosting, but today we do have Marco Knows Best. That's what I call him, Marco Martins. Thank you for joining us, Marco.
Oh, you're welcome.
How's it,
I've
darling?
been downgraded to the bench.
Exactly. How's it going?
Normally I'm first choice. I'm first pick here at ONSIDE set, and now I'm on the bench. But it's nice being here with Super Sub sits.
Right?
Nothing wrong.
Nah.
Yeah.
Less pressure.
I feel more knowledgeable now.
Nah.
Just sitting in his seat, I've absorbed that super subness.
I got you, man.
Unkgopotse, Latas. Tell us your boarding school time that we're elaborating on now. And of course, with boarding school, it's extremely difficult to maintain a strict diet. A lot of us get that strict diet and that nutrition and everything from our parents who force us to eat healthy. When you're a kid, when you're in high school, when you're end of primary school, early high school, whatever, you just eat whatever garbage you feel like, And when you don't have that pressure, that parental pressure, especially you as a sportsman who was doing sport all the way through that period and was already taking football very seriously, how did you find yourself, like, at least compared to others in your space? Like, how did you find yourself maintaining that nutritional requirement that you needed to be an athlete?
Uh, to be quite honest, it's difficult because I mean, obviously, like I said, every month, every beginning of the month, you get minimum wage, or minimum um allowance from your parent, uh, which at that time it was around 1,000, of which you needed to survive from 1,000. From there, you need to buy your own groceries that will last you within the hostel, and that's fine. But I think for me, I've always disciplined myself since a very early age, because you find myself during lunch. I used to buy olives to actually eat during the break. So I used to nurture my body, nurture myself. Also, I think it's a mindset thing, because if you want to see yourself somewhere, it comes with compromising and sacrificing. So it was a bit of a hassle, to be honest, because at some point you need to settle for the dining hall food, and I mean, there's nothing you can do. I'm still trying to survive at the end of the day. So yeah.
How do you feel that impacted you? Sorry to interject there, Tepi. How do you feel that impacted you? Obviously, South Africa is a football market that we're notorious for being smaller, nimbler, quicker players. We don't have the physicality. Something we saw recently in the African Cup of Nations, where Bafana started to struggle with the physicality of a side like Mali, for example. Yeah. And South Africans, we tend to be smaller in stature, but you yourself as well, even from a South African context, you're slightly smaller and less of a physical presence on a football pitch than some of your peers. Yeah. And, what have you done to try and cope with that? Either from a tactical point on the pitch or from putting in extra training, extra hours. How do you find that a smaller guy like you, what sort of advice do you give them going forward on how to overcome that difference?
Look, to be honest, a club's training or the number of days that you train at a club can never be enough for a soccer player. So, I mean, honestly, you need to take those extra hours, make time, to jog more, or to rather do indoor mat work as well. That will help you in terms of core. But from my side, I used to be an all-rounder because I also did athletics, so that also benefited the physical side. But to be honest, I might be this small, but I'm very physical. I was quick as well, because at some point I used to play as a striker, and then I moved to a center back position, but now I'm a central midfielder, of which it makes sense because now I've played the forward position and the defense, which now comes as a balance, because I play box to box. So I think for me to help me, maintain that role and do well, I even now I usually have morning jogs every morning, Monday to Thursday. Then Saturday I know we have a game, and it really helps me a lot.
So we have the physical aspect of sport, being an athlete, and then we also have the mental perspective, or the mental aspect of it, which I believe is something that you find in most cases is something that is not looked into, and when it is eventually looked into, then it's a bit too late. Have you had challenges when it comes to being able to focus, considering also that you were in school, and like you've mentioned, you have to then focus on your education, sometimes there's not enough food, and etc. Like, how were you able to strike a balance between the physical aspect of the sport, school, and also just being a mentally stable individual in the game?
It wasn't easy. I mean, during our time, obviously at that time, either we play on the weekends, against the hostel teams. During the week would be when you're representing your high school. So now balancing is really difficult, but let me just break it down as how it works. In boarding school, everything goes with time and everything is scheduled. So it's a matter of which school until 1 p.m. in the afternoon, or 2 sometimes. From there, it's a lunch break. At 3, we go back. We have afternoon study. And then from there, we have a 2-hour break as well. 5 o'clock, we have dining hall situation. We go there, we come back. 6 o'clock till 9 p.m. in the evening, we study. So I think that helped a lot. Think about it. There's been an afternoon study. There's been an evening one as well. So it helped a lot, but the most likely the afternoon one was usually for like homeworks and and then evening, then that's when I created a chance to focus on prepping for tests, exams, etc. So look, it's easy to get out of your lane because I mean, you know how football is. Sometimes you find yourself enjoying and being in the moment and sometimes being more passionate about something than you should. But it wasn't of a challenge. But sometimes when you're doing bad, I mean, as a young lad, you find yourself questioning, why am I doing bad? What is it that I'm doing bad? But when you're young, there's always that thing that's hindering you from asking, coach, what is it that I can do better? But as you grow older, as you progress, that's when you are able to approach coaches as to where you can improve. So I think I've mastered a bit how to balance between those. But I have this thing or believe that our priorities will never be the same. So obviously you need to prioritize at some point. And I think also the scheduling also back then helped me to balance, and I still use that in my current life.
I like that forced discipline and forced structure that gave you the ability to do all of these things. And it's much easier when that discipline and that structure is forced upon you, like in boarding school. It's like almost militant in a way.
Yeah.
And I think that's good advice for a lot of like young ballers who want to go and make it and stuff, is if no one's forcing you to have this structure and this discipline, then you must force yourself. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
if no one else answers
2 o'clock is this. Okay, cool. 2 o'clock every day. 2 o'clock is what I'm doing. And then 4 o'clock every day for 4. I don't make the excuse, I don't have much math homework, whatever. 4 o'clock is your time for this. End of story. And that sort of structure will help you along.
I agree with you completely, Marco. And I mean, as much as there's also going to be structure, but certain things are, you have no control over. And I'm talking about failure, for example, not performing as well as you had wanted to. What would you say were your lowest moments where you felt as though, you know what, this is it, I'm actually leaving this thing? And also what kept you going?
Funny enough, in my last year, I wasn't part of the school's team. I had decided to not play for the school, or represent the school rather, due to me wanting to focus on my studies. But I don't think it was a problem of wanting to focus on my studies. I think it was temptations, challenges that were there, that come along with growing up.
Temptations. Now I'm also talking about adolescence, so just growing up.
So balancing between everything was something else. At some point, I think during grade 10, that's when I started experiencing failure. But I was people always perceived me as a smart guy, but I was just a hard worker. I mean, I'm just a hard worker. I work hard for everything and anything that I wish to obtain in life or achieve. But I pushed myself, and that's what's important. I don't think failure, determines like the success, of current transpirations. It's not the case. It's just a matter of looking at what is wrong and trying to fix that, but also merging it with what is going right at that time. Yeah.
I think maturity plays a big part in that. And it's applaudable for a person, as young as you are, who has maturity to be able to talk about failure, but not talk about it as though, it is something that is going to be detrimental to your entire existence. You lose just now, and I mean, you're able to get up and go. And speaking of getting up and go, what are you busy with right now? And also, what are your aspirations specifically in the sporting space?
Right now I'm playing for a team in the
You don't sound excited.
That's because in a way I've like gone down a bit.
You had a bit of a slump.
I've gone down a bit in terms of levels of these different divisions. At some point I was playing for an LFA team, and then got to the SAB team, so now I'm back into the LFA. But that's because of compromise and sacrifices and balancing that we're talking about, because now I have a work situation, and also I'm not trying to let go as yet, from this passion that I have. So I'm back at this LFA team. I won't mention it, but
Yeah.
I think we're on our way to
SAB.
SAB.
Yeah, nice.
And from there, my wish is for us to see us going to SAB, progressing again, and going to ABC. ABC, maybe from there, we'll see what happens.
See where it takes us.
Yeah, but the management, I've played for the team, and the management from the team back in 2020, they wanted to take me to Portugal. So unfortunately, COVID happened, and it's life. It happens. So my aspirations, you asked.
Yeah.
I don't believe in limitations.
Good.
And I'm challenging myself every day to do better than yesterday, because yesterday is gone. So I'm at a point where I still believe that if not only making it professional, let me try at least get to Europe. Yeah. And it's not easy, thinking about even now, current players, they can't get there because of the experience of having to play a certain number of years in Europe. Then you can play for certain teams like Manchester, Barcelona, you name it. Yeah. But I wish to play overseas, and represent South Africa as well, and come back and play for the national team as well. And I wish also that my story could change one's life as well. Yeah.
What are the challenges? Because you've mentioned obviously that COVID impeded your ability to go to Portugal and ply your trade over there. But you also mentioned that as it stands, you do have work and you do have to work, and you still have this passion that you want to pursue, which is football. What are the challenges of sometimes, and this is an assumption, that not coming from maybe a well-off family, where you have to then make a decision between making sure that you are financially stable, or pursuing a passion?
It's very challenging. I mean, with my situation, I was raised by a single parent. The other parent is there somewhere, but that's fine. I was raised by a single parent, and for me, my mom wished that, I make it in life. But I mean, that's every parent's wish.
I agree.
So financially, obviously, it won't be easy for me to finish school, finish college or university and just sit back. I want to come back and help the parent where I can, but I also want to be successful as well. So the challenge, it's really challenging. I mean, if you're thinking about it, if it had me wanting to risk like that, for example, getting a loan just to go and trial overseas,
betting on yourself, basically.
It's something else.
Yeah.
And it's what we or the other players don't talk about. I mean, it's beyond belief. It's beyond faith. It's something else. I don't know how you can do it, but you can, but also it's knowing how to maneuver around these industries. And now we talk about the football field,
Of course.
Sometimes I think one of your guests here, you find yourself asking themselves that, how did I make it, whereas there was someone who was better than me? So there are certain things that happen underground, but you never know. I think it's really just having to believe that maybe I'll get there. But I don't believe in maybe. Like I said, it's a mindset
it's
thing.
Not an if, it's a when.
It's a matter of when will I get there?
Yeah.
Because I see that even some professionals, you can see that, not to say anything negative, but you can see that, calling it off, and I can do better maybe in that position,
Who do you rate? And it can be anyone from any team in South Africa. Give me your top 5 of your best.
Africa.
Yes. Who do you rate?
Yeah. In South Africa.
Take your time.
In South Africa.
So 5 Sundowns players and then everyone else.
That's the thing. do you see how?
Okay, let's hear it. So it's obviously Zwane, Mokwena.
Zwane, guys.
General.
Zwane is something
Shishi,
else.
yeah.
Shishi he has mastered the free roll position, and it's amazing. But it needs you to be fit, hey? Yeah. But Zwane, Mokoena. So you see the balance there. One creative player and one hardworking midfield as well. Yeah.
Okay. So Mugwena is a hardworking.
He's hardworking
And
not skilled, but
yeah,
he's there.
yeah,
He's
and
available.
he's needed still.
He's got a right foot.
You know,
I hear you.
makes the important interceptions as well. So, Zwane creativity, he's always there when needs us.
When
you
it's
know,
needed.
in attacking situations.
Yeah.
Yeah. From there, let me get out of my video because I'm tempted.
You can
now,
say
you
that.
know?
You can say Glorkop if you want to.
Yeah, no. I mean, they've been dominant. No,
May I put your head on the block while you're still finding your top 5?
Yeah.
Which team locally do you support?
Back then, I used to support Orlando Pirates because of my dad. You know how it is. You know, Father's Day force you to be like me. You know,
Yeah.
Orlando Pirates is the team. This and that. Everyone at home, back home, is a fan of Orlando Pirates.
Yeah.
I used to be an Orlando Pirates fan, like nobody's business. To that point where before the game, I used to go in my room in my small corner and pray.
No way.
Yeah, it was
That
that
is so
deep.
cute, though.
Yeah, it was that deep. And but when we lose, I remember in 2010 when Kaiser Chiefs won back-to-back 3-0, and then 3-1 against the Orlando Pirates. I was there at Soccer City, my first time there. I cried.
I'm sorry.
It was when it was Musona and them. Those guys were something
brutal.
else. Yeah.
Let's go back to our top 3. So you said
Yeah.
Mokoena and you said Temba Zwane. So give me your number 3.
Zwane. Number 3.
In no particular order, by the way.
In no particular order, of course. PSL is so...
What is it? What is PSL? Define PSL for me. What is your outlook on it? Your perception?
Look, to be honest, I watch PSL more than any other league.
Dope.
And that's because I'm looking at the possibilities of where can I make it first before, Europe, because it's not as easy to get there. But I'm looking at them in a sense of how different am I as compared to them, and that's
how hard
pushing
you need
me
to work.
Exactly, and that's pushing me in a sense of if there's not much of a difference, maybe it's the fitness level,
Okay.
But talent wise, I'm telling you,
What do you think that is?
It's the underground thingies that I was telling you about. The connections. Now there's a lot of corruption in this local football of ours, and hence I'm saying you need to get to the right channels. You need to know who to talk to. You need to find the right agents. And
you need to have some money.
Exactly. For bribe, for him, for the trials. So yeah. I mean, it's not easy, but I think within time, I believe.
And I mean, there's nothing that is worth having that's ever going to be easy. I mean, look, I your ambitions to me are gold, right? Wanting to play in Europe and eventually come back and play with Bafana and etc. Why do you not consider continental football, other continents as, a potential destination? Or even other continents, really?
That's because it's not. Let me see. I think if I had to look at it like that, then I would be bringing Dubai, for example, into
this equation.
But look, it's because of how I look at football. I'm not doing it to please anyone. I'm not doing it because of money. It's how free I become on the field of play. How touching it is. Fact that my performance can actually, change someone's emotions.
Yeah, impact them.
Exactly. So, but I think I've just, generally just named Europe because, I mean, it's one of the leading continents. I'm not closing other continents, of course, Whichever opportunity comes, then it would have been a thing for me. I'd
Even
grab
MLS?
it. I would grab it with both hands. I mean,
Our
MLS.
super sub's not here, you can say it.
I mean, MLS for me, to be honest, the level is not there.
It's not giving.
I mean, especially if you look at the current players, it's mostly like you can compare it to Dubai. It's like players who are looking to retire there.
Yeah.
You know? And most players are there because
Like
of
the
the money.
Saudi Pro League.
And
Yeah.
Saudi League.
And Saudi League.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think it could be a good angle starting at MLS, for example.
Facts. Yep.
Yeah. And going into Europe and you know, going to the bigger places where you have bigger leagues in England, in Spain. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm not closing any opportunities that may come through.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
I'm open to opportunities. Yeah.
That's dope. That's
Yeah.
dope. And it's going to happen. So we are now, give us our number 3,
Our
and then
number
we
3.
move over to the next question. I'm putting you under pressure.
Um,
Can be Banyana.
Any Kaiser Chiefs players?
no.
Not one.
Kaiser Chiefs.
Okay, so while you are still
Not even
thinking,
Dupree.
No.
Is
Nah.
it?
No. So should I answer you based on current players or
Yeah, current players in the DSTV Premiership
current
from any
or
country.
from any country?
Yeah, as long as they're playing in DSTV Premiership.
Oh, yeah.
It can be Peter. It can be, you know what I mean? No pressure.
Latas, take us through the divisions of South African football. I mean, we're talking about SAB, we're talking about, you've got Motsepe Foundation, you've got the STV Premiership. Take us through how the National League system works and then the regional leagues as well. And what are the competitions that these younger, more regional sides are competing in? I know there's the FNB Cup and all of these competitions. Let's go through them.
Yeah, well, so you have the LFA, that's the lowest division. That's the lowest division, and then SAB.
So LFA is Gauteng or Johannesburg regional.
We
LFA.
all have LFA. It's
We
just-
all have an
we all
LFA,
have
but you
LFA.
only play against teams from your region.
From your region. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like Johannesburg West, Johannesburg North,
Yeah.
Johannesburg East, Johannesburg
Yeah.
South, Pretoria East, what.
Yeah.
Okay.
So from there, obviously, I mean, let me just give an example with the LFA or whichever league, even SAB or just the lower leagues from LFA, SAB till ABC. So you play with your region, you win there, top teams, they go to the playoffs. From there, I think the top 2 gets promoted.
And then they go to a national league or the next regional league.
The next regional league.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, like I said, no, the next division.
Is
Yeah,
the
the
next
next
division
division.
not provincial, or is it still regional at that point?
Nah, look, after from being top of the specific region, you're representing that region. Then from there you go to the playoffs, and then the west, the east, the south, the north, we meet there at the playoffs.
Yeah.
The winning team, no, I think top 2 that in the final then gets promoted. Either
And then
way.
they go to
If you're coming from LFA, you go to SAB.
Yeah.
From SAB, you go to ABC.
and then
And then from ABC, it's Glad Africa.
It's called Motsepe Foundation now.
now
yeah,
you're
it's
in the
called
national
Motsepe.
divisions, the Motsepe
Yeah.
Foundation.
First division,
Yeah.
yes.
And
But
then you
to get there is difficult because in ABC, you have, I mean,
all the
different
regional clubs
regions
from around the
different
nation.
provinces. Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to
So-
play against the best team in Durban plays against the best team in Cape Town.
After representing your own province.
Yeah.
So that's
So the best
that's a
KZN
journey.
team plays against the best Gauteng teams,
Yeah.
plays against
And
the
then
best teams.
Popo.
Yeah.
Western Cape, yeah, and so forth.
And then you get to the Motsepe Foundation League system, which is the first national league system.
Yeah.
Now tell me, within these leagues, who injects money into these teams? Is there, sponsorships? How does a team sustain itself?
In the lower leagues.
Mm-hmm.
No, sponsors come.
Is it?
Sponsors come,
Oh,
yeah.
that's dope.
Yeah, sponsors come. It's really all dependent on sponsors believing in the team and believing in the talent that we can go all the way. But also one thing that I forgot to mention is that from the SAB level, there's like Nedbank competition.
Mm.
So there's that as well where creates an opportunity, of course, but it's not easy because you need to, the whole structure, the whole different levels that we just talked about, mentioned. You need to play against all the teams, all the different regions, represent their region, come back, represent the province, come back, and then only you can be drawn into the last 32. So you can
and
imagine.
that's still a long way to
Yeah,
go.
so you can imagine the only team that did that whilst it was still in SAB was the University of Val.
Okay.
I think back in 2016 or 15 somewhere. So it's not easy because think about it. There's 16 teams in PSL, 16 in Motepe
Motepe
Foundation
yeah.
now, and then there's ABC as well. So yeah, it's not easy.
And then we're looking at things like FNB Varsity Cup, for example.
Yeah, but that's for
It's for the youngsters in the university. It's a youth level cup.
Those ones, they have USAs. They call it USAs.
What does that mean?
University something.
Okay.
I forgot what
like an alumni.
Yeah, but no, like it's a competition for universities.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I get
in-house competition. All universities come through, they play, but you need to qualify as well for the USAs. Yeah, and then from there, I think from there then they qualify for the varsity competition. So the USAs happen in December, festive season, and then I don't know when the varsity starts, but in the upcoming year.
What is the standard of officiating in the lower leagues? And would you say that might be the reason why sometimes it's difficult for certain teams to progress? I mean, it could be a conspiracy. What are your thoughts on that?
Man, look, there will always be conspiracies, It's there and there. You find one of those honest, officiating people who you feel like they could have gone all the way, but unfortunately, it's a matter of you can see this person is too old, but you can see the passion. But now, then you also get to others who are like, they're given money to, for example, at the playoffs. It happens a lot. You need to take out money because anything is possible. So I think also the standard. Yeah, man. I mean, there's not much transparency,
Okay.
I mean, let's be honest. In every industry you come across, money will always be, put forward. Yeah, but I think they are more passionate, because they want to get to PSL as well. But the young ones, but the lower levels, there's like a lot of old madalas there.
I don't know who wants to be a referee nowadays.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
It's not a job I'd choose.
Yeah.
Let's push you on those 5 players. Come on. Before we wrap up, we need to know your top 5 DSTV Premiership current. All time, you can't. We're not
Because
looking
these are
at
your peers. I think it's only fair that, you mention people that you can potentially play with in the next 6 months, if not the next year. Does that make sense?
So I mentioned Zwani, I mentioned Mokwena.
I mean...
Oh, I can't leave him out. Mudau.
Okay.
I can't leave
Aubrey.
that guy out.
Okay.
No, Mudau, the right back. Number 25.
For Sundowns?
Yeah.
Sundowns and Bafana.
Yeah, I can't leave that guy out.
Hey.
Now, he marks. He closes down.
Yeah.
He's like the wall of China. That guy is, yeah. From there,
Number 4.
let's see. Ndlondlo. Philip Ndlondlo, Lando Pirates.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a real talent.
Yeah.
Tosses and turns right here.
Yeah.
Last one. Let's see. I played with Cassius when I was still in high school.
Okay.
We played together. So I see myself still playing with him. So he won't be, I mean, he's an inspiration, of course, but he has always been at that level. He's always been further as compared to us.
Do you have these conversations with, like people, your peers that have progressed, gotten further? Do you ask them, or is it like an open secret where, people don't tell you exactly how they went about it, to get to where they are. Does that brotherhood exist?
Not really, because, when you're young, everyone wants to get there.
Okay.
Yeah. And to be honest, it's not like if I make it through a connection and Marco sponsors me today, it's like I'm putting 100,000 on you. Let's go. Let me take you wherever. It's not like I'll come back and tell them, no. Maybe in the future I'll say, Marco took me. But I wouldn't say certain things, that are not supposed to be said. You know? I mean, but no, we don't have such open conversations.
Stop telling people I took you. It's a secret.
Yes.
Well, so
it's just a matter of
you can't reveal as much. It's especially now with social media. It's just thank you, Lord, or thank you whoever who you believe in. And you can't, because tomorrow they can take you down.
That's true.
Yeah, because it's not certain that everyone will be happy for you. You never know.
How does your mother feel about the decisions that you've made thus far? Still wanting to pursue football and still also want to be.
My mother's a funny one. She has always indirectly supported me.
That's nice.
In terms of football, because I always had soccer boots when I asked for them, but she never encouraged me to play football. To a point where I was out of high school and I was I was straightforward with her. I'm like, you know what? This gets me away from a whole lot of things. My peers out there doing 1, 2, 3, and 4, they're tempted to do this and this, and they come across that, and they're making babies, they're on drugs, you name it. But this is helping me get away from a lot, and it makes me happy. I think for her, as every or most common black parents, the thing of, as long as I see you out of varsity, then I'll be happy. What you do after is not my problem. It's up to you.
Do you think that you were born? I'm sorry for interrupting you, and this still really goes back to your upbringing. Do you think that you were born to be a footballer, or were you made? You applied yourself. You trained so hard that you became as excellent as you are.
I applied myself, honestly.
Okay, so hard work.
Hard work. I'm not the most talented soccer player I know.
Marco, are you the most talented soccer player you know?
Me?
Yes, you.
Me, I'm MacG.
Yes, okay.
See, the ballers must know. The ballers must come see me play Discovery Park sometime. Then they'll know real talent.
Okay.
No, I was never the best either.
Yeah.
I can hear exactly what Latas is saying. Is that by far in so many facets of the choices I made in my life. From a footballing perspective, where I stopped playing very young anyway, at any decent level. I represented Gauteng at the age of 13 or 14, and that was it. That was the end of it for me. But even then, at Gauteng, I was probably by far the least talented person there in the whole of the Gauteng football setup.
Interesting.
Playing for the provincial sides. But I was there. And what does that tell you? It tells you that the player who wants it, the guy who's prepared to really grit and give everything and leave your lungs and your spit and your blood and everything on that grass.
Yeah.
If you're going to do that, then you can close that gap between you and the talent. And that's what I really liked about Latas, your favorite players that you chose there, is that those top 5, players. Those are the ones that you look at them and you think, they were born with the talent. Yes, they had the talent. But also, what more did they do? And you can see it. They went and they did that more. And they leave more and they're hungry. And I think that's what it really takes to be some of the top. And if you talent with no hunger, you're nothing. If you got hunger and no talent, you're something. If you hunger and talent, then you're special.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I hear you. And I think more than anything, it's refreshing for a person to be honest and know that, look, man, I might not be a Messi, but I will work my ass off nonetheless. Because the reality is that we can't have everyone in the field who is absolutely talented.
Yeah.
There won't be any balance. As we speak, you still have your ambitions. You still want to accomplish great things. When it's all said and done, How would you like to be remembered?
Yeah. I still have a long way to go.
I
So
know.
the remembered part, yeah.
What impact would you like to make on people's lives?
Look, as young as I am right now, I'm telling a story, through a whole lot of things that I'm involved in. And I wish the stories that I'm telling, I wish that it reaches to certain individuals, humans, globally, internationally, and let that touch them.
Mm-hmm.
Let the message get to them. Let them relate to the story that I'm telling, so that they can do something also about it. Because there's a whole lot of things that are unsaid, that are kept inside. Of humans, and we don't know how to express. So I want to be remembered as someone who just changed people's lives. Because I wish for people's situations to be different as to how my situations were, in a better way, of course. I think people will figure it out, where I come from, the experience, how it has been, how I made it. It sacrifices, sleepless nights. Yeah. So, but I wish to be remembered as someone who changes people's lives, who always wishes the best out of everybody, who believes that there are no limitations in life. If you want to apply yourself, you can. If you want to work to achieve towards something, you can. Yeah. So,
And the rest is
the
going to
rest
be
is,
great history.
yeah.
You play for the FOA. You don't want to mention the team, and that's understandable.
Yeah.
And I can imagine it, and then I know this for a fact, that there are other teams, amateur, beyond amateur, guys that are playing in the hood, with not the best of circumstances, that would also want to be afforded these opportunities. If you were a scout for the biggest teams in the country, where would you go look for talent?
South America.
Realistically. I see what you did there. What color are you wearing first? In yellow.
Yellow.
Where would you go realistically? Like, if you really want to find pure talent, where would you go?
Locally. I think it would need a very good balance. So I'll name 3 provinces: Western Cape, Limpopo, and Gauteng.
Interesting. Why those 3 provinces?
So now Limpopo, most of the people, they know the struggle. So any player you get out of there, he's gonna want to work hard. He'll always remember where he's coming from. Western Cape, I'm looking at, there are talented colors out there. Go to your five-a-sides tournament situations. You'll see that these people are talented. And they have they endure very much so. So you have someone like that, he'll back you up 90 minutes.
They won't let you down.
They won't let you down. I mean, look at La Magia,
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Gauteng, because I'm assuming
Gauteng is like a mix of everybody. There's talent, yeah. There's talent. Especially here in Johannesburg. Johannesburg.
Soweto, Mamelodi. There's players, eh?
There's players.
Sosha, Tembisa.
There's in Pretoria as well. Yeah. So Johannesburg, Gauteng, actually.
Then begs the question, is there then enough that the South African Football Association is doing in grassroots levels to make sure that we keep on churning out this talent, and number one, even going to discover this talent and nurturing it, so that we do not have our issues when it comes to first divisions, the DStv Premiership, and ultimately Bafana?
No,
they're not doing enough. I mean, when last did you hear?
No.
Last did you hear that?
Suffer.
Yeah, I mean,
Are they suffering?
What are they doing?
I don't know.
Ask them. Where's I don't know. Let's go to their website, see their youth development. Well, I don't know. Super Sports are doing more for development of kids
Yeah.
than SAFA are doing.
Yeah.
And they're a TV broadcaster.
Yeah.
Super sports schools.
But then doesn't that also come with some type of privilege because there's money involved? I mean, you have to pay to be part
And
of super
SAFA has no
sport.
money?
Wow.
SAFA's got money.
They've got money.
They're doing fine.
Right?
No, there's not I can tell you very honestly, SAFA's not doing enough. And this is why we've got a few people pushing for presidency, someone we've spoken to before
we have.
who's passionate about youth development and doesn't have a history of corrupt behavior,
Yeah.
you know, and that perhaps some of this funding that's going through SAFA can actually go somewhere and help build youth development. Because for me, that's the most important thing.
I
Of
agree.
course, the clubs need some help. The clubs need some support. It's expensive to run a top-level football club in South Africa. We're talking about these lower divisions where the players aren't getting paid any money, whatever, but they've got sponsorship to run their clubs. And the players aren't even getting paid. Do you know what I mean? There's no salaries to pay there. Maybe they pay a coach
Not even a
and then there's
stipend.
fees to pay for some of the referees. But you look at what referees are getting paid at DStv Premiership level. It's not even, you need a job. This is never any full-time professionals at any of these levels throughout South African football, the chain of command. So they're not doing enough. And you have to ask yourself, where's the money going? And when there's more money, when it's not being filtered out into whoever's pockets, when that money's there, the priority must be youth development. Kids need good facilities to train at. They need the right people showing them the right way early on. And then South Africa's football culture will be brighter. Our football future will be beautiful after that. So if SAFA can wake up and start spending some money on youth development, we've got a really beautiful future ahead.
Marco, and I'm sorry, and let me just, while you're at it, what do you anticipate happening after these elections, these SAFA elections? What do you see happening realistically?
I hope that the public puts enough pressure so that the election changes. But the problem is that SAFA elections are internal. It's a few certain select people who vote all the time, and it's all the same people who vote all the time. There's no public election or anything like that.
Yeah.
These people are already, I don't want to accuse people of being corrupted, but they're already set in their ways. Let's put it that way. You know, they already have their favorites, and they've proven it over the years that it's always the same people getting elected in these different positions.
Yeah.
So there's favoritism there at the very least, to say that. So, you know, we can be hopeful and think that things change, but we as the public, we need to put pressure on them so that they feel like we're not going to accept these sort of decisions anymore.
Okay.
And hopefully things change. And that's the only thing that we can say about youth development here, is that if it weren't for South Africa's passion for the game, it would disappear.
True.
If it weren't for the private sector helping develop it, the football would disappear. So football will always be a beautiful thing in this country. We'll always have good football sides. We'll always have the best league in Africa. I believe that completely. But it's because of our passion for the game, not because of SAFA.
You share the same sentiments, I'm assuming,
Very much so.
right?
Very much so. Yeah. It's sad to see what's happening, even, you know.
Oh, you must be careful. You still want to be a pro footballer. I can say what I
Yeah,
want.
but you know what? I mean, looking at, for example, I was watching at Portia Mudise's interview that she made.
Yeah.
You know, one thing for sure, she stood for the truth.
And look where that got her.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like, I mean, I'm just a transparent somebody, you know? And if it's meant for me to get there, I'll get there. With their help or not, but I'll get there. You know,
And you
that's what
will.
I'm saying. Yeah.
You will.
So,
In conclusion, Marco, final words?
My final words is there's very few things to say. I think it's really great to just hear from someone, you know, we're always speaking to like a real top level professional, or someone
It's
who
nice to
made it
hear
in the
from a
game, or
normal
an icon or
person.
whatever. But from someone who's still trying and at the lower levels of the game, to just get that insight as to, you know, more of on a level of you, me, and the ballers. Do you know what I'm saying? Not people who have
Just
made it at the
us.
peak of the game. Just
Yeah.
one of us. You know, is really great to just have that conversation. It just gives us a little bit something different. So
like that.
my last sentiment is just thank you, and that's it.
And don't forget us when you then.
yeah, I mean, I hope to come back
Yeah.
here, you know, as a professional
Yeah,
next time.
wearing a Sundowns jersey.
Nah, not
Okay,
with
you
Sundowns, but
didn't give
any-
us your number 5, so we're gonna close with your number 5, and I'm just going to put your head on the block once again, one last time.
Okay.
And Marco, please allow me. If you were in the same shoes as Ulail, would you have come to play for South Africa or not?
Yeah.
I don't think
Give
I
us your
would-
number 5 first,
I don't
and then
think
we can.
I don't think I would have been.
Is it?
Nah.
Interesting.
You know, let me tell you something. You know, for let me say specifically for a South African, for you to be out there in Europe, it's like a miracle. So remember, this guy was out for
Premier League
at that
Premier
the top
League.
the top league now. You know, he's there and he was out and was facing whatever challenges he was facing.
Yes. Mm.
So for you to come back and be fine and go represent the country, nah, I wouldn't. I want to make my name here first. Then maybe I'll you know. I mean, national team is national team. You know, national team is national team, and it's just AFCON. I mean, one would
It's
just
AFCON.
it's just AFCON. So we still have a long way, also, you know, as a national team.
Yeah.
So I don't think we've done enough to give more inspiration to other players, upcoming players, as to I want to get there.
Mm.
The national team still needs to push. I mean, in the world rankings, we're like number 65 or something.
Mm.
So we're not even in the top 50. What does that say?
It says that it's hard to get a work permit in another country if you're not in the top 50 clubs.
Exactly.
In
So
FIFA's
do you
rankings.
blame Lyle? Do you blame him?
I mean, that's a fair response. So let's just close off with your top 5. I think let me just start by giving us a bit of a rundown. So we said Mokoena, we said Zwane, we said Ndlondlo, we said Modal. And who we closing off this top 5 with?
The last one. Current one. Let's see. I think
And Ocho, who would you like to be? Why are you still thinking? And I mean, I keep on getting these questions as we speak. Who would you want to be coached under? That one coach that, you know, whether they're retired or not, who would you have wanted to be under, you know, in your football career?
we're still here, local, right? Before I answer or I give you names, I'd say a coach that appreciates me.
Okay, that's fair.
And a coach that believes in me more than I do. I know it sounds a little bit impossible, but it is possible.
Yeah.
You know, I was coached and I'm still coached by a coach that believes in me more than anything.
And that's
you
a
know?
beautiful thing. to
Yeah,
have.
but also it came at me having to prove myself. At first, when I got there at this certain club, I was like, this player, this guy, he over carries the ball. He thinks he's the star, you know, that kind of a thing. And I mean, you're a player, you're trying to prove yourself or prove yourself to other people, and it's not easy. So I think a coach that believes in you more than you do, it's a banger. So I think Kevin Hunt.
Kevin
Hunt. Rulani Mukwena.
Okay.
I like his drama.
Our Pep.
I
Yes.
like his drama. He's
passionate.
more than passionate. And that's what you need from a coach, you know? A coach that doesn't limit you. That feels like, it's never enough. Let's do more. I think those are my top 2. I can't think of. I think also Coach Pito.
Ne?
Yeah, but unfortunately, see now he's up and down. You never know what's his next move. No, Steve as well. Steve Kompela.
Is it?
Also for my mental state.
So you basically just mentioned a
I
trio.
mean, think about it. If Steve Kompela was at Burnley, don't you think Lyle would have been okay?
Or Coach Gavin, even when we spoke to Gavin,
Yeah.
he was very big on helping players be sure that they're in the right mental space.
Yeah.
I like that.
But we can't criticize Vincent. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Maybe Vincent is doing his best, and sometimes mental health is mental health. It happens.
Okay, if you say so.
You don't agree? You say so.
Yes, my friend. Okay. And okay, actually, you know what? There's this I had a conversation with a very prominent ex-footballer, a legend of the game actually.
Yeah.
And he mentioned something, and I believe and correct me if I'm wrong, Marco, that when he was coaching in Limpopo province, I'm not going to be specific where, but he found that the coaching there, or just the overall understanding of football tactically, strategically, was lacking. And that it seems as though the football that is taught there is not what it needs to be. Did you encounter the same things, or did you see the same things when you were playing in the Limpopo province and maybe other provinces? Or would you say that, you know what, that really is just a misconception altogether? Because I remember Gavin talking about when he coached, I think Black Leopards, and he mentioned that, you know what, certain tactics, certain ways of, just
You had to
applying the ball,
simplify
you
it.
had to start them over. And he says, these people have been playing for so long, and then you're expecting them to be at, this top league, and therefore being able to execute, and they were not able to do that. So I'm asking from a personal perspective, your opinion, really.
Yeah.
Because you have played Kopolokwana.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Limpopo, yes.
I was lucky to be coached by a development coach as well, who coached at School of Excellence.
Oh,
in
okay.
Limpopo.
So you had it nice, most.
Yeah.
But did you never play with the guys
Hendrik.
in the hood and just
No, I
see
did.
how they play?
And this is it might come out somewhere somehow, but like, look,
yeah.
Limpopo, for me, everything there is a bit slow.
Slightly. I mean, we can't expect Limpopo to be a cosmopolitan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you can imagine certain standards of Gauteng or Western Cape, for example. You can't find them in Limpopo.
Nah.
Only after a while then they get to. But I think, no, it's not a misconception. It's there. It exists. And it's because tactically, the way we play, it's not the same.
Okay.
It's not the same. In Limpopo, we're more focused on sometimes
Scoring.
Let's get to score.
Exactly.
And let's pack the bus. We defend all night long. We are there.
Marco would be so frustrated if you were coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think in
I love
Limpopo
that.
I've learned anything in terms of, or anything from any other coaches besides my coach Hendrik, as to being able to put the ball down, playing, moving, playing and moving like how Zwani plays. He plays and he moves. He wants to go look for the ball. And I believe, within the field of play, every player can do that. If you play and move, as a player who's getting the ball, you always have an option. So you won't panic. But sometimes as players, you panic because there's no options. You don't know where to take the ball next. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we are officially closing off this interview. Thank you very much for joining us, Latas. Give us your number 5, because I've not forgotten.
My number 5.
And then we can say our goodbyes.
Let me give it off to...
Because clearly not catches.
No, he's my boy. We're going to be in the same field very soon. Yeah. We still have a lot to push together. So I think... Mtetwa.
Okay.
Kaiser Chiefs.
Yeah. Okay.
One Chiefs player.
Yeah.
That's very nice of you. Gracious of you, sir.
It truly is. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been yet another behind the scenes. It was a BTS. And we were joined by Latas, a very talented young man playing in the LFA. LFA in Randburg.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I actually want to check out your matches. So, we will then have some details at the bottom of the screen to tell you where you can check out all these matches, and also just some details about all these tournaments and where they're happening and etc. And if you also want to have your young ones join, these tournaments, because football truly is a beautiful sport. For myself, Sepi Worldwide, as well as Marco Martins here in studio, and the talented Latas. It's bye for now. Are we brought together by Gateway?
Yes.
Oh yes. Oh, okay, ladies and gents. And this show was brought to you by Gateway Mall.
Danko.